I got a newspaper? Oh, shit. Shit. Oh, God, thank you. Feel like I'm bunny in the toilet today. Toilet. Bedroom.
Anthony, how you doing?
All right. What are you?
I was just washing my hands.
Okay.
He's going to the bathroom.
And he's taping you washing your hands?
Well, we got a fan here.
What's going on?
We thought that you were coming here. How are you doing?
Not bad. I'm fine.
Not bad. You're good.
Yeah, my head hurts a little. Not fine.
So I just want to know what the, I guess the situation. Like I said, we kind of knew where you were headed. What's going to be the situation with Low Life Louie tonight?
What situation? There is no situation.
So you're not scared then about anything that he might do, or you know he's going to be in the building tonight.
I'm scared of what Louie's gonna do? Excuse me for a minute.
I know this is a bathroom.
Listen, I know this is rated PG. Scared of Louie? Shut up. Okay. Shut up. Scared of Louie? Scared of Louie? Let me show you something. See this over here? See that? Oh, Jesus. You see this? That's a broken hip, broken pelvis, and dislocated hip 8 years ago, courtesy of a car accident in Forest Park. Okay? Scared of Low Life Louie? See this? This is another car accident. Shattered both sides of my ankle, got permanent damage on my leg, not even supposed to walk right now. Okay? Even this. Fell off my bicycle 8 years old. Now I'm gonna be afraid of Low Life Louie Ramos? Fucking joke. Jesus. By the way, next time you do a promo in here, please spray something with air freshener. It smells like something fucking died in there. Don't step on my glasses.
This is a bathroom. I guess he's not scared.
Gonna let you hear something in a second. We've been I didn't even play the Wednesday Night Dynamite official intro because as this was playing, my lights flickered for a second. Now, luckily, I have battery backups here. So even if the power goes down over here, it'll give me a few minutes to shut everything down. If the internet goes down, I will go grab my cell phone and we will use that as an internet connection. I am in New York. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means, everybody? WWE Dynamite just went off the air. I let it go for Jim Ross. All the years he entertained us. We all make mistakes. People get brain cramps, repetition. You know, I mean, yes, it's a little embarrassing on AEW's part, especially since he hasn't been in WWE for quite some time. But I'm one of those that it is a little humorous. I mean, obviously, you know, it'll spark up a couple of laughs. I agree with Bryant that hearing him say at the end of Dynamite, see you at the next live WWE event. You know, I know. Look, I don't think Jim Ross is going to be in AEW for that much longer. Now, no, I don't believe that he's going to leave in a month. But I think Jim Ross, his, veteran, just his name value, his presence, he could still call a match pretty decent. I mean, growing up, I love Gordon Soley. Hearing him in those latter years in WCW was kind of hard, a little bit rough sometimes, but didn't forget about all the prime years that he commentated. I think now with AEW being on TV, almost, 2 years, not 2, but going on this second, I think ultimately somebody will take his place. I just don't want to see Jim Ross step aside because of a commentating blunder. You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel like, okay, maybe he's passing the torch to someone else, or he feels, or AEW and Jim Ross feels that it's now time to step aside and give someone else the opportunity to possibly be the next Jim Ross or something in that same sentence. Mauro Ranallo, I know that name is already floating in the chat room. Mauro Ranallo, oh my God, look at it. All the Mauro Ranallo love. You never know. Never know. Mauro Ranallo, I mean, look, with our shows, we're not afraid to really tell it like it is. There's a lot of people out there that walk that fine line, which makes them a little bit more PC acceptable. You could go into it and you got fluffy pillows and you got bunnies, little rabbits running around, and it's like, oh, I feel so nice. Oh, we tell it like it is, man. Mauro Ranallo, unfortunately, has been dealing with emotional issues for his majority of his life. He quit social media because of the toxicity of it. A lot of people that we know have dealt with major emotional issues. And Mauro Ranallo is a little bit of a wild card. I mean, we love his commentary, and I love when I see Mauro Ranallo smiling outside of wrestling. But the deal with Mauro Ranallo is that, something could set him off. And, that is risky. It is risky. I mean, we're not trying to be cold here. We're not trying to be non-sympathetic, but facts are facts. You put someone in that position and then something happens and, they step aside, that's big shoes to fill. It's big shoes to fill. Of course, real life trumps everything else. So you want, obviously, his health, his mental health, physical to be top priority. But, we'll see what happens. But, yes, I did chuckle when I heard Jim Ross say that tonight. But, look, it's what happens when you get older. I'm fearing the days where I come up here and I'm like, hey, what's up, everyone? You tuning into, and say someone else's name in a podcast. So Matt Stryker's a good fit too. Matt Stryker, yeah. I mean, there's some names that you obviously could put out there. Right now, like I said, I don't think Jim Ross is done yet, but I think he's on the tail end of his commentating career. So I want to welcome everybody. A few of you are in a little bit of withdrawal tonight. You're like, please, I want to see that little intro of Karrion Kross choking someone out. I'm going to play it for 30 seconds, only so I could take a sip of my beverage and turn my air conditioner on. I actually turned it off because the lights flickered and I got nervous, but I figure if the power's going to go out, the power's going to go out. And I wanted you to hear how hard this rain was coming down. Today's temperature was like 96 degrees over here, and it's been like that for the last couple of days. And there's been some power outages in the neighborhood, and we were supposed to get rain tonight to basically break up this heat wave. Go figure, I swear to God. I know Jason Solomon still lives in New York. I think he's doing a show right now. There's a couple other podcasters that live in New York that are doing shows right now. They will all tell you, literally 2 minutes before we all went live, you start hearing this tremendous downpour. If it picks up again, I will pick up the mic and just turn it this way, and you'll be like, holy shit. Holy shit, is that loud? Anyway, be back in 30 seconds.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy as Don Tony gives you news and reviews from AEW.
Welcome to the party! Oh my God! Those are coming, Sammy!
NXT.
And it's over! Bronson's here to ransack NXT souls!
And indie wrestling. It's Wednesday night, Dynamite.
Know what's happening in the world of wrestling without the hate and clickbait. And now, your host, Don Tony.
"77 years old today. 77 years old. Happy birthday, Terry Funk, my favorite wrestler of all time." And I went into one of my storage boxes today to show you something. Now, I know a lot of you already know that Terry Funk has always been my favorite wrestler of all time. Actually drove to Connecticut to see him wrestle Lowlife Louis Ramos. And if anybody ever knows Lowlife Louis, if you notice his front tooth is missing, or half of it, ask him why it's missing. He and I drove to Connecticut so he could fight Terry Funk, which is one of his most beloved favorite wrestlers of all time also. And during that match, Terry Funk inadvertently broke Lowlife Louis Ramos's front tooth in half. The half a tooth is on the mat, and I don't remember who he told, but he's like, take that. I think he still has it as a memento. Up until a couple of years ago, he refused to get his mouth fixed because it was always a memory that he fought Terry Funk. But a lot of you know that I have met Terry Funk countless times, got some interesting gifts from him over the years. And when I got engaged in 1998, I actually hung out with him. You've seen the pictures, me with the Brillo hairy chest. Got to hang out with him in Philly. Almost got arrested in a road rage incident. And when he found out that I got engaged, because my ex had actually sent him a little note saying, thank you for, spending time with my fiance and this and that. And she told him a couple of things. And I know a lot of you are aware of this thing. But this is one of two. This is one of two handwritten letters that Terry Funk wrote to yours truly. I kid you not. If you want to read it, just go back and pause the video. So I have another one somewhere. Never part with it. One thing I am going to part with, and I haven't decided if we're going to do the contest tomorrow or bleed it into next Wednesday as a little bit of a different contest. But a lot of you have been giving me ideas as far as things we could give away when we do the Thursday show. And tomorrow I have decided to give away this. A lot of you, I know it's not Brody Lee, it's Luke Harper. Unfortunately, Brody Lee didn't sign a lot of autographs as Brody Lee. But this card, you go on eBay and check completed auctions. This card, limited to 299, sold recently for $150. This is limited to 50. Someone is going to win that tonight. Either tomorrow, or next Wednesday. I have an idea of what I'm going to do. I'll tell you the truth. I came this close of offering up the Wyatt family, all 4 members, all in serial number order. But, that's my only set I have left. I've given away sets over the years. Who would have ever thought that Brody Lee would pass and the Bludgeon Brothers would be split up and Bray Wyatt is treated like shit for the most part, and Braun Strowman, I mean, do you ever think the Wyatt family would end up like this in so early in their career? Almost, man, I don't even want to say it. Sucks, man. I don't even want to think about that. Let's talk about MJF and Guevara tonight. A hint of the future. No, I am not comparing them to The Rock and Steve Austin. No, I'm not comparing them to Triple H and Steve Austin. But as a wrestling fan growing up, I will tell you, in the very early days of the Attitude Era, and we would get like a match with Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Rocky Maivia or The Rock. I don't know if he ever wrestled Triple H as Rocky Maivia. My point is, over the years, way back in the day, we would have a match with 2 people that you felt future. Not necessarily just for AEW, but the future in wrestling. You almost close your eyes and you think to yourself, yeah, promotions could rush it for the right, but 5 years from now, that could be a pay-per-view main event anywhere. Could be a pay-per-view main event right now. But I think that would be rushed way too soon. If you're a talented wrestler and people like you or they hate you, you should be able to get a little bit of attraction when it comes to ticket sales and buys. But that is a match that honestly should be put into a box, somebody lock it. It's almost like Randy Orton and Riddle. Take the key and store it away for 5 years. I don't care what promoters offer, you got to resist. If I was MJF, it said, now, yes, they could end up in two totally different federations, promotions, and not wrestle again for a long time. But I'm telling you, this is something, if I'm still doing this 5 years from now or so, we'll look back and we'll say, yeah, remember that match? A little hint of what we have in the future. Love the match. I like the video package at the end. I noticed people had some mixed reviews about it, and I understand why. Yeah, they're now going on the road. They're going on the road. I don't want to say so what. It's a big deal, but it's not like Daly's place is getting dismantled. Could do shows at Daly's place again. In fact, didn't they announce that they're going back to Daly's place in August? Come on, this is June. It's not like January and we're not going to be back for 9 months. So, but you know why the video package I liked? I don't care if it was a tribute to Daly's place, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it. There's some pretty damn good highlights in that video package. I mean, a lot of promotions will do highlights of what they have done over the year, over a certain period. So I thought that was really, really cool to see that. It reminds you, and I'm sorry for sounding like a little bit of a wise ass for saying this, but you look at that video package tonight and it reminds you that AEW is not all botches and garbage. Like people will try to force you. Notice how a lot of social media accounts now exist only because of botches by AEW, only because of bullshit stuff. Yes, it has a lot of flaws, and hopefully it's growing pains. Flaws and growing pains are two totally different things. We're hoping some of what we see are growing pains, not flaws. Because sometimes when you have a flaw, if you do it long enough, it's very hard to change it. Now, I don't want to joke about it tonight. The asshole DT kind of immediately came to mind. In all legit seriousness, best wishes go out to Rebel, not Reba. She's got a social media. I mean, if you want people to forget about the name Reba, then don't put it in your name. Don't write Rebel, not Reba. Just write Rebel. That's it. In 2 weeks, everybody will just know Rebel. That's obviously done on purpose. And what do I always joke and say? Okay, she's Rebel, not Reba. She's horrible, not bad. Tonight, it's a tear, not a break. Get it? Rebel, not rebel. Horrible, not bad. Tear, not break. She injured herself. Looks like she may have blown out her knee. She tried to make the save in a mixed, I almost said mixed tag. I got mixed tag on the brain because I got a little confused for a minute tonight when Dynamite said history next week. Orange Cassidy teams up with Chris Statlander versus the Bunny and the Blade. First time. And I'm like, I know I saw this on Dynamite before. And then I remembered it was AEW Dark. It was Jericho's Cruise. Remember Jericho's Cruise? Wasn't it Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford versus Riho and Kenny Omega? So they have had a mixed tag before. But Rebel, let's hope that it's nothing tremendously serious. I mean, I know that I have criticized her in-ring ability since she's been in AEW. I've seen matches of her prior to AEW. And she's not bad. And I'm not kidding, I try to convince myself sometimes, no, this is intentional. This mistiming and hitting someone, I mean, honestly, that hurt more than some of the shots that she did with her crutch to other people. I mean, I don't know if just her horrible wrestling in the ring is deliberate. Doesn't seem deliberate because, you know, timing and stuff, you start messing around with that, you could seriously injure yourself. I don't think timing had anything to do with this tonight. Sometimes shit happens, man. I always told this story. I played football when I was a lot younger, and I'll never forget the sound, and I'll never forget the moment. I'm running down the field trying to catch a pass. I didn't catch the pass. As I'm running down the field, I feel pop and something in my hamstring, and I just went down. I just went down like a ton of bricks, and I had a tear just from running down the field. Now, yeah, it didn't help when I was probably 315 pounds at the time, but shit happens, man. Things happen unexpectedly. I hope she's okay. I really do. Now, tonight we're going to jump back and forth a little bit because NXT, the road to Great American Bash, they only have 4 matches announced for next week. To me, this feels like just this tiny step above NXT regular episodes. It doesn't feel like a Great American Bash. Sure, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly are going to tear the house down. It might not be the right phrase to say right now with that horrible tragedy that happened in Florida. Some people out there think that the coffin match was rescheduled because of what's going on with Florida. And a few of you actually asked me in DMs tonight, do you think they changed the date because of that? I'm not so sure. Because if they really wanted to get people's minds off of the coffin match because of what happened with Florida, I don't think Sting would have rolled out a coffin and then have Darby Allin jump out of the coffin and then keep showing the coffin and have Ethan Page say 10 times coffin. No, that's not like how you do it. You try to just like, you know, quietly, just like Jungle Boy versus Kenny Omega. They didn't do a storyline to change the date. It was supposed to happen, a week and a half earlier? And then suddenly, Jungle Boy versus Kenny Omega, Saturday, June 26th. Wait, that's not the date they said. There was no storyline or any announcements. They just changed the date. They could have done the very same thing with Ethan Page and Darby Allin. And they didn't. There's not always an answer for everything. Now, I do want to mention this quickly. You see what I mean when sometimes we get little tidbits of news and we break it here exclusively? I don't ask people to give me credit, and I don't care if they give me credit or not. But you know, over the years, especially for those of you that go back with me to the 90s and the 2000s and stuff, like every time we post something that no one else has, no one ever reposted. Some, my followers do. But I told you, I was working my ass off to try to get my account with Nielsen back. And someone that I used to communicate with, I sent them an email to try to hook me up and stuff like that. He's like, what do you need it for? I said, need it for ratings and stuff, just basic ratings. He sends me an email earlier today. Oh, I got your NXT's rating. Oh, cool. What was it? 636. 29,000 less than last week. It's okay. I just posted it on social media for everybody to know the number. You see anybody reporting that number tonight? When I reported those 3 weeks of horrendous Impact Wrestling's rating numbers, which were correct, did anybody post it? Nope. Shit happens. So, but that is the rating. Very disappointing, especially how they hyped up this past week with NXT. Very disappointing number. Now, obviously with NXT yesterday, it was the build to the Great American Bash. Also, the build to this, the NXT Breakout Tournament. And yes, we will get into the recap of Dynamite 5-10 minutes. And I will put timestamps tonight for everybody. But they announced yesterday, in 2 weeks, they're going to do the breakout tournament. Now, the funny thing is, I was surprised at how many people yesterday said, breakout tournament, second? What was the first one? A lot of people cannot remember the first NXT breakout tournament, which happened in 2019. It wasn't that long ago. So for all of you out there that were curious, what happened with the original, the first NXT breakout tournament? This was the original brackets. Not bad. When you look at this roster, I mean, obviously Jordan Miles is no longer with WWE and NXT. You know, but if you look at this, Joaquin Wilde, Angel Garza, Boa, Cameron Grimes, Isaiah Swerve Scott, who won the NXT North American Championship yesterday, Bronson Reed, welcome to SmackDown. Dexter Lumis, not a bad lineup 2 years ago. So I'm curious to see who's going to be in this one. This one. Jordan Miles didn't win. One fall. Didn't Velveteen Dream win? Didn't he challenge Gargano? I think you might have had a little bit of premature ejaculation trying to bust out a joke. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, please, everyone out there, say, DT, you're wrong. Because that is a rare occurrence on this show. See, when Franchise says, yes, he did, I don't know if he's talking to me or if he's talking to One Fall. I thought Velveteen Dream won. Because Jordan Miles won? Are you serious? Don Tony, how am I intertwining Velveteen Dream challenging Johnny Gargano? How am I mixing that too? Okay, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Wow. Why do I think, is it the purple lights right now? Am I getting like a little bit of purple haze going on here? No, I believe you, man. My apologies to One Fall, seriously. When I'm the one that ended up being the wrong asshole here. No, I believe you. Yeah, I wonder why I thought Velveteen Dream. Yes. Dream's calling me a goof. You should be happy that I thought Dream won this. So we don't know the brackets yet. Obviously, we're going to get Tony Storm versus Shirai. Mr. Eagle. Now, I'm sorry. I got to be careful here because I don't want to be labeled like that AEW announcer. I'm not doing Sheeta. I'm just, I'll do it in my Italian verse. Hey, yo, Mr. Regal. Hey, you think I could get a match with Tony Storm, please? I really would really appreciate it, You know what I'm saying, Mr. Regal? You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you very much. Banzai. Tony Storm is one attractive woman. There's a lot of attractive women in wrestling. So as I mentioned, Isaiah Swerve Scott won the NXT North American Championship yesterday. Hit Row, I'm feeling it. Ashante Adonis, I think ultimately will get kicked out of Hit Row, and we might see Ashante take on Scott. Not right now, but I like it. I do think Bronson Reed is being moved to the main roster. We had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. The big absence of huge men in NXT sometimes makes it difficult to suspend disbelief. And yes, Bronson Reed, that man, how agile he is, he's in a league of his own. But you just look at him on SmackDown, you could picture 5 opponents immediately for this guy. He had his tryout match, dark match, main event match, whatever you want to call it. Vince, was there in person, saw it. They're sold on it. So I think Bronson Reed is going to the main roster. I personally think he is better needed on SmackDown than Raw. Let's see what happens. Bronson Reed, I think, he says he would love to stay in NXT. They all say that. Obviously, there's a few that we know truly would rather stay in NXT. But You don't get to this point and then say, I'm good. I'm good. No. I don't want to be in front of 3 million people, 2.5 million people on Fox, big merchandise, 18,000 seat arenas instead of 300. No, I'm good. No. Bronson Reed wants to go to the main roster. Let's see what happens. By the way, remember last week, I got to share something because I kind of confused people yesterday with this. So I hope they look good on the wall. I really do hope they look good on the wall. Last week, 1 week ago, Karrion Kross went on social media and said that was available on WWE's website his first ever autograph on a wrestling figure. If you look at it closely, it says number 1 right under that FX or whatever it is, right above his bald head in the picture. Number 1, first ever autograph. And I joked on social media last week. I said to everybody, I'm like, look, I don't care what Karrion Kross says. Do not bid on it. Under no circumstances, do not bid on this auction. Do not touch it. Do not go anywhere near it. Because I wanted to win it. And we all got a good laugh over it. But you know, yours truly, you know, when I want something, I got to do whatever it takes to get it done. I don't settle for second best. I don't settle for second place. I don't like being a follower. I like being a leader. I like people who also want to lead. That's why I love chatting with so many of you out there, because you could hear it and see it in what people write. You know, just sitting and being a lapdog for others? Hell fucking no. Well, yesterday was the auction. Come to Papa, baby. Come to Papa, baby. I want it. It is going in the house. It is going on the wall behind me. I hope it looks good. I'll tell you the truth. I might actually offer it to him. He may want for his own private collection the first ever autograph he did on a wrestling figure. So I may actually send him a message and say, hey, you want it? But there was a problem with this. There was a big fucking problem with this. Scarlett also had a first ever action figure, first autograph ever. And we don't know what the future of Karrion Kross and Scarlett will be. We don't know if it'll be happily ever after. But if it does, wouldn't it be kind of like fucked up if those two figures were split apart? Like one figure is in New York and another one is in, I don't know, blah, blah, blah stand. So I said, you know what? Fuck it, man. Come to Papa as well. WWE, you better ship it in good plastic. I don't want any autographs smeared. Yes, yours truly has the first ever autographed figures of Karrion Kross and Scarlett on its way. Thank you very much. Work hard, play hard. I hope they look good on the wall in the back. I hope they look good with purple lighting. So, yeah, I tell you, seriously, I might offer it to them, both of them. That, you know, hey, you make it to WWE and you're a future superstar, probably be cool. Wow, my first ever wrestling figure. You know, first ever autograph I did on a wrestling figure. Because you know what's going to happen. 20 years from now, I'm not going to get 67-year-old Triple H ringing my doorbell. Hey, we're doing a remake of Hidden Treasures, and you have the first ever figure autographed. Oh, you like any retro audio? Yes, I put some retro audio for our YouTube channel members. I will put up more this weekend, and we'll start mixing it up a little bit. Random shows, random dates, let you vote on some specific episodes. We'll have fun. What's my favorite poster in the back wall right now? Well, honestly, so I know the lighting is a little bit screwy right now because I got the colored lighting going. I mean, I could change it, but I don't want to mess with it right now. Of all the pictures, honestly, probably Piper. Yeah, Piper. They Live. Undertaker's is pretty sweet. The Eddie Guerrero one, I can't lower the camera But the Eddie Guerrero one, right above the live on air, I like the Taz one. I actually like them all. Honestly, Muppets are coming down. I don't know why I had Muppets up there in the first place. I'm not that big of a fan of the Muppets. Muppets are going bye-bye. By tomorrow, there will be a different picture up there. I'll figure something out pretty cool. I'll figure something out. So anyway, make sure you tune in tomorrow. I'll figure out what we're going to do as far as the contest to give away this. Yeah, I hope whoever wins it keeps it. I mean, if you do want to put it on eBay and get 2 bills over it, by all means, go ahead. Might even get more than that. But trust me, I really don't want to part with, some of my autographs, my collectibles. But that one, I have a couple others. Thought it'd be a really nice contest to do. But like I said, I haven't decided what the contest will be yet. I have an idea, and you'll have to tune in tomorrow to see. Now, before we talk about facial hair, people losing their shit today. Wait, that's better. Losing their shit because the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega have facial hair. Oh my God, he's trying to be Triple H, Fu Manchu, Triple H with the Harley Race-like beard. Man, I excuse young wrestling fans when they say stuff like that. But wrestlers with facial hair changes, that's been going on for 40 fucking years at least. 40 years at least when somebody turns heel, when somebody's a baby face. The one person that I remembered as a kid, that was the quintessential. Now, you don't have to grow facial hair to be a heel. Sometimes you have facial hair. In 2021, it's cute to have the big beards. Everybody looks like a truck driver from Texas. Come on. I see all the people on social media getting all this attention and everything, and they all got these big fluffy beards. I can only imagine what they smell like in the summertime. I have nothing against them, but you see somebody like Otis, you shave the beard, you turn heel. A lot of wrestlers, when they have facial hair, they shave the facial hair to turn babyface. For me, in 1983, it was Jimmy Superfly Snuka. That's how they used to pronounce him. Snuka. Jimmy Snuka, when he was managed by Lou Albano, had the goatee and the facial hair. Ask the Mass Maniac. Any of you out there that still talk to the Mass Maniac, ask the Mass Maniac about Snuka. He brought Snuka in to USA Pro Wrestling, UXW, because I worked for Frank Goodman at that time. And he said to Jimmy Snuka, could you go hardcore? He says, I want to bring you in as a heel and brawl with Sabu. But I need you to have facial hair. I need you to have the 1982 goatee and mustache. That might be the same thing. Jimmy Snuka came in, fucking awesome. Loved it. Facial hair changes with heel and babyface turns is nothing new. It took Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks a little bit too long, but at the same time, you have to grow the facial hair, and it doesn't happen overnight. There is no miracle grow for skin. So when everybody, SoFly, I'm not jealous of the beards. Believe me, I would grow the beard. I mean, come on. I used to have the goatee a little bit, the peach fuzz. I could still do it. But to me, it's not for me. I have no problem when anybody wears beards, but the point is, facial hair, come on, man. That's nothing new. They see the Young Bucks doing it, and I thought it was hilarious. I think they look great. I absolutely think they look great trolling people with the facial hair. They said they look like porn stars tonight. Didn't, was it Jim Ross that said they look like porn stars? I know, they're heels right now, and yes, they probably should have done it a little bit earlier in their heel run. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. You look back at years past, you had wrestlers who had no facial hair turn heel, and then they get some facial hair, they get a little bit of scruff. and sometimes the opposite. Look at Mick Foley. Mick Foley always had the goatee, the mustache, the beard. And then when he turned heel with Mr. McMahon, I'll go one step further back. ECW, 1995, November. When they did November to Remember, and it was Raven and Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer. And Mick Foley, after they had November to Remember, he went home with his family. I know a lot of you with the A&E biography. By the way, that A&E biography, when you saw Mick Foley clean-shaven on the rides with his kids, a lot of that footage was from ECW TV. We saw that footage 25 years ago. But the point is, he got clean cut to be the reverse of what everybody wanted, Cactus Jack. Then when he turned heel with Mr. McMahon and cleaned up, and he was all clean shaven, got his teeth fixed. Remember when he smiled and all his teeth looked great? He's been doing this for years. Facial hair, change of look is nothing new. Nothing new. So, but I like their looks tonight. I like it. I don't think this is anything to Triple H. And by the way, Eddie Kingston, I don't know if you caught it tonight with him and Penta. What's up? You know why that happened, right? I know a lot of you want my thoughts on that. I'll share it with you right now. This past Saturday, 4 days ago, after Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega went off the air, Eddie Kingston, Benjamin is saying, I know the facial hair was fake, right? It's not the point. It's not the point. You change your facial hair when you turn one way or the other. Kenny Omega's, I don't think, was fake. Anyway, I don't think I need to explain it any better than I already did. So anyway, Eddie Kingston, after the cameras went off the air, well, the cameras were still rolling, but when it went off the air on Dynamite, Eddie Kingston cut a promo. Couple of choice words about WWE, maybe not caring about their fans all that much and everything. Now, I can't play the promo here because I'll get in trouble. But Bully Ray had some choice words about it. Now, I find, this is not directed to Bully Ray, but I found it funny for everyone out there that heard about the promo late Saturday night, all day Sunday night, Monday, all day Monday night, Tuesday night. But because Bully Ray says a couple of words on Busted Open Radio, all these testosterone-lacking, typing, internet goofs, warriors. Oh my God, Eddie Kingston, shut the fuck up. Know your role, shut your mouth. Only worry about AEW. Took them 4 days. 4 days. Seriously, if you ever meet any of these people in person, go like this. Then wait 4 days. Then they'll DM you like 4 days later. Ow! That hurt. Bully Ray had this to say about Eddie Kingston yesterday. He said, I love Eddie Kingston to death. If we're having promo wars and I was the captain of a team and somebody says you get to pick one person to do the promo for you, he'd most likely pick Eddie Kingston because of his believability, tone, inflection on everything about him. But in this case, Eddie needs to shut the fuck up and stay in his lane. And his lane is of an AEW guy speaking about AEW and flying the flag for AEW. Then I'm completely on board. Tell me how great AEW is. Fly that flag. Now, off topic. What is the changer for me in 2006 with podcasting? When I started focusing on, I want all of you to tune in here because you like what you have here and because I'm good, not because others are bad. There's a big difference. So getting back to what Bully Ray continues to say, he says, let's get this question out of the way. Oh, actually, the promo that Eddie Kingston said follows. So Bully Ray says, tell me how great AEW is. Show me that you wear your heart on your sleeve. Now, I know on the surface, the temptation is to say, wow, Bully Ray, no. When you were in ECW, you used to shit talk all these other federations, it's this and that. It's not the same. So anyway, Eddie Kingston did an interview, and Eddie Kingston had a response to this. And he says, Eddie Kingston, and I quote, let's all calm down. You think I'm going to bury the locker room that I work for? No. I love this locker room. I love AEW. What do you want from me? They're paying me. They're putting me on national TV after almost 20 years. I'll be 20 years in the business in October. Of course, I'm going to rah-rah AEW. Relax. I expect people from the other joint, if they're allowed to mention our names, they'll probably do the same thing because you know what I mean. They want their home team to win. It's the very same thing when WWE and Triple H said, you want the best women in the world, you watch NXT, you watch WWE programming. And you had Thunder Rosa, which I love to death. I said the only woman in wrestling I ever bought 3 shirts from because I liked it, like her, and I liked the shirts. And she's like, Hunter, you're mistaken. There are talented women all across the world. Every promotion puts their own over as the best ever, the greatest ever. It is no different. So, my answer to all of this, I had no problem of what AEW Eddie Kingston said. I almost said Kofi Kingston, because some of you in the chat room are trying to get me to talk about the top 5 tag teams on the greatest tag team 50. We'll do that tomorrow. I don't have calls set up for tonight. We have a whole night of Q&A tomorrow. We will have plenty of discussion about it. For those that don't know, and I'm sorry for breaking it, the New Day apparently got number 1. We kind of feared that. I'll have my comments on that tomorrow. But as far as Eddie Kingston goes, I had no problem with anything that he said. I don't think the fans are into what Eddie Kingston said like it was 25 years ago. Eddie Kingston knows that the wrestlers that work in WWE truly give a shit about the fans. So if you want to talk about management, that's fine. But a lot of fans interpret it when you talk about the other company, you're also talking about the wrestlers. And if you go back and you watch what Eddie Kingston said, the fans did not pop that great when he was making specific shots to WWE. But here's the thing. My only problem with everything that went down with Eddie Kingston in this promo, it's only one thing. Take note. This is important. Take note of all of these websites, all of these podcasters, all of these writers, all of these radio station bloggers that called out Eddie Kingston, but they never called out AEW for posting the video on their YouTube channel and promoting it all over social media. What's worse? Eddie Kingston saying that after the cameras go off the air? Just to have the fans go home happy and liven up the crowd and make them feel like AEW is a big family and come back? Or AEW putting that on social media and on YouTube for the world to see and replay and replay and replay and replay and replay and replay. Every single person that called out Eddie Kingston didn't have the balls to call out AEW for reproducing it, republishing it, posting it, reposting it. That's worse. That is worse. So I have no problem with any of it. I don't have any problem with any of it. But if you're going to get that triggered over it, but you don't have the balls to call out the company for taking and putting on a gigantic, because the way it was online, it was cell phone footage. If AEW did what they have done in the past, they would have done copyright flags. Can't have these fans posting this. Or if they were fine with that going around, some fans would have been like, hey, check out what Eddie Kingston said after the cameras went off the air. It would have been some fan footage online, and we move on. No. AEW not only posted it, but did it with their own cameras. They recorded, edited, produced, zoomed in, zoomed out. They loved it. So for all those people out there, typewriter warriors, all balls in a bunch about Eddie Kingston, where's your balls for calling out that promotion? What's the matter? They may not like you. You might not get as many hits or likes or retweets or YouTube. Fuck out of here. Bullshit. It's bullshit. Speaking of 50 greatest tag teams, I just noticed this. Crazy, yes, tomorrow we'll do it. Tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I have to let it sink in a little bit. I don't want to reveal the top 5. I'll let you reveal the top 5 tomorrow, but New Day made number 1. My quick comment is you got 3 people in the tag team, not 2. It's a lot easier. You know, I don't know. Think of some sport out there that involves 2 people. 2 people. You know, mixed tennis. You got 2 people on each side. You know, anybody out there know like a legendary duo that played tennis as a team? You know, 2 people on the same side. Now imagine that team being ranked the number 1 greatest tennis duo of all time, but there were 3 tennis players on one side of the court. Now the Williams sisters didn't really play together, but if you want to use that, we could use that. Let's say the Williams sisters were known as the greatest duo to play tennis together against other duos. And then when they go to the stage to accept themselves, the Williams sisters, as the greatest tennis duo of all time to play duo tennis, and 3 sisters come up, not 2. That's my honest opinion about it. You want to put New Day in the top 5? Fine. I understand why it's done. To put them number 1 above everybody else in the history of pro wrestling, I give Big E a lot of credit. Go look out and see what Big E wrote tonight. He himself even knows they had no business being number 1, but he humbly accepted it and appreciated it, showed love to his fellow teammates and fans out there. So they did everything right. They do not get mad at the New Day for being ranked number 1. So I know we don't normally do WWE stuff on Wednesday, but there's a big discussion that's going around. Keep hearing weird sounds. Yeah, it is raining. It's not that hard right now, Papo Jr., but trust me, if it really starts to intensify, I will put the mic to the window. When you hear it, you trust me. I wouldn't just put it there so people are like, yeah, I've heard rain before. Shit like this, when you hear like the wind like blowing against, it's not fun. It's not fun. AS7607, much love. I am waiting on that one thing that is going inside that Money in the Bank briefcase that we talked about with the initials PO. Part of my language for people out there, no, it's not pussy odor. Something that I wanted to put in there. So Cruiserweight, I will get her briefcase out Monday. So congrats once again. Hey, who knows? Maybe you'll end up winning this next week and I can put that in the briefcase so I don't have to incur 2 shipping charges. So Fly Bemore, that segment on NXT with Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher, and MSK was fantastic. How great is Ciampa? Pay attention to the crowd. You, I, and a lot of you out there have noticed MSK not as over as people think, but Ciampa and Thatcher will help them. By the way, I saw a few of you saying this yesterday. I think Timothy Thatcher would be pretty damn good in Diamond Mine. But I got to be totally honest with you. I'm not crapping on it after 2 weeks. Something tells me, and trust me, I've been following wrestling enough when you get these bad vibes, they usually lead to something. I have these vibes that what WWE anticipated Diamond Mine to be a month and a half ago is dramatically different of what we are getting now. If you look at some of the vignettes that they filmed, even the last one, Arturo Ruas was in there. Now, don't get me wrong, Arturo Ruas is not going to be, in the future, one of the greatest wrestlers, but they had other members that were going to be part of this. There was a lot of rumors of some MMA-related people were going to be part of this. And yesterday, Roderick Strong, it has a match, and he beats Asher Hale. No promo, no explanation, no threats. You don't even get anybody cutting anything. Just Roderick Strong has a fucking match, Diamond Mine. I have a bad feeling about this, everybody. I do not doubt that every member of this group will work their ass off and try to take perceived chicken salad that may end up being chicken shit and trying to convince everybody that it's still chicken salad. I have bad vibes about this. I'm not crapping on it. I just have a feeling that WWE over the last couple of weeks had a dramatic change of view on this. I can picture it. Oh man, we got Diamond Mine to get a debut in two weeks. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just think of all those promos and the hype for a month and a half. And then what we got last week. I like the individual guys, especially Hideki Suzuki. This is WWE. How is he going to suddenly connect with the Capitol Wrestling Center? So I don't know, man. No promos, no nothing. I swear to God, I'm not. I know people are laughing right now, but I swear to God, I can picture that production meeting. I can just picture him. I can picture him with the papers. I don't want to screw up the Terry Funk thing. They're like looking. Here we go. They're like looking at all of like what's coming up for NXT, and they're like, all right, what do we have next here? What do we have next here? Diamond Mine. Yeah, but Ruas, Parker. Telling you, I want to see what, maybe I'm wrong. I want to see 1 month from now what Diamond Mine looks like. Is it going to be a Diamond Mine or is it going to be cubic zirconia? Telling you, I feel like somebody in the back went, I'm not kidding. I fell flat. Roderick Strong is awesome. Watching it yesterday, I'm like, okay, all right, we need some Malcolm Bivens, cut a promo, show that charisma. Why should we give a shit about Diamond Mine? Nothing. Cameron Grimes over Ari Sterling. But then they announced that stipulation next week at the Great American Bash. Cameron Grimes, this servant. I hope chest hair does not fall into LA Knight's drink. Give me my drink. Yes, sir. Your drink. Put on a fucking shirt. You got chest hair in my apple martini. It'll be funny if Cameron Grimes just has like the butler thing and no shirt on. LA Knight with an awesome promo yesterday. Absolutely. But why would you take the $1 million championship off of him already and put it on Cameron Grimes? That makes no sense whatsoever. So I think Cameron Grimes will end up being LA Knight's servant. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised those vignettes are already done. I could picture LA Knight. Cut my toenails. I want to see disgusting stuff. Cut my toenails. Ever go in a pool and you got like dry skin on the bottom of your feet, and you're in the pool and you're trying to be incognito about it, but you're kind of like rubbing the bottom of your feet, trying to get rid of all that excess skin that is now soft and ready to fall off because you're in a pool for an hour. And then you look at the pool and there's all this like white like particles all on the top. That's what I want to see. I want to see LA Knight in the pool. And Cameron Grimes has got to clean up the pool and it's all foot skin. Some of you out there know exactly what I'm talking about. I did that yesterday. I kid you not. It was at the parents' house, went in the pool. I don't know. I know it's disgusting, Benjamin, but we talk some real life over here. Diamond Mind. Reba, not Rebel. Horrible, not bad. Tear, not broken. All right, Mercedes Martinez. We did the contest last week. Mercedes Martinez was part of it. Anybody that tunes in on a weekly basis knows how much I am a fan of Mercedes Martinez. Hell, I got to work a show with Jersey Championship Wrestling a long time ago, 2004? No, 2005. And she was on that card also. I'm a Mercedes Martinez fan. Mish is a huge fan of Mercedes Martinez. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a scare. And I had mentioned this yesterday on Patreon, that early in the match, there was another kick that didn't knock Mercedes out, but I think it kind of like rang her bell a little bit. If you go on YouTube and the WWE channel, they posted highlights of the mixed tag yesterday, the match. You go about 49 seconds in, and you'll see Xia Li with a kick to Mercedes' face, and it connected pretty hard. Mercedes looked like she was fine. Sometimes when adrenaline kicks in, you don't notice any, visible changes. But if you go back and you watch that match, early on, she got kicked right in the face pretty good. And I thought that might have rung her bell a little bit. Not a lot, but I think it might have done a little bit. End of the match, though, Xia Li with a kick to Mercedes Martinez's face. And I think it was Elizabeth that calls into the show once in a while. She wrote yesterday that it looked almost like a donkey punch. And it's a reaction that a lot of MMA fighters get when you get, knocked silly in the head, in the face. The way Mercedes Martinez went down, like I said yesterday, the lights were on, but nobody was home. And props to the referee. What's her name? Ref Aja? Is that her name? She immediately realized something was wrong. A little blood in the face happens during matches, but she looked at Mercedes' eyes and her face. You go back, Ref Aja, you go back and you watch. Soon as Mercedes grabbed that rope, she immediately went like this. Immediately. We knew something was wrong when the camera was not focused on Mercedes or Jake Atlas at all afterwards. They had a close-up of Xia Li with Boa, and we never saw Mercedes again. Chris, I'll say it nicely. I know exactly why you're saying that. There was a lot of people on social media talking about, yes, they trying to turn Xia Li into Nia Jax, bringing up Aaliyah. From what I understand, Aaliyah was storyline because she was getting no surgery done. Accidents happen. I don't think anybody should throw any hate to Xia Li's way. Accidents happen. She was taken to the back, evaluated, and they sent her to the hospital just for precaution. You check for concussion. You want to make sure no swelling with the brain. You check other cognitive tests. They did it as a precaution. So, as far as we know right now, Mercedes Martinez is okay. Now, kind of the telltale sign last night that she was going to be okay was Boa and Xia Li going on social media about 2 hours after the match was over. And they, in character, online, indestructible. Do not mess with us. They didn't say that, but pretty much that was the tone of their tweets. And, you know, you get people immediately like, wow, that's fucked up. How could you write this? She's had to be sent to that. Because at that time, Xia Li already knew that Mercedes Martinez, nothing majorly serious. Xia Li did go to the hospital, from what I understand. That's what you normally do. Accidentally hurt someone, you want to go show support. I don't know if she actually did, but she wanted to. But Mercedes Martinez is okay. When Jake Atlas wrote on social media last night, this is not over. This is once they realize that, okay, no serious damage is done. Now, you get up there in age and you've been wrestling for 20 years and you get knocked like that, you know, you want to take a little bit extra precaution. Thank God, nothing more serious. Sure, things could change on a dime. I mean, I knew someone a long time ago that had a nasty injury with a head falling and got checked out and everything was fine and everything like that. And then what ended up happening is a couple of days later, they found some bleeding on the brain. I'm not saying that's the case for Xia Li. I mean, for Mercedes Martinez. But all I'm saying is that, you know, you should see an update tomorrow from some people saying that, okay, you know, she was sent for precautions and everything, you know, thank God, nothing serious. You know, when people were like, oh, that was an awesome black mass yesterday, you know, I wouldn't try to like equate a wrestling move to it. She connected, accidents happen, Mercedes went down. But like I said, if you go watch that match back, early on in the match, there was another kick that when I saw it, I was like, oof. You know, I thought that rang her bell. But, you know, she seemed fine because she was then cutting the promo on Mi Ying. So we're all thinking about Mercedes Martinez. Hopefully everything is good. Same thing with Rebel. So Isaiah Swerve Scott, as I said at the beginning of the show, beat Bronson Reed to become the NXT North American champion. I like Hit Row. I'm quickly becoming a fan of Top Dollar, AJ Francis. You know, if you actually look into a little bit of him outside of wrestling, he's a very, very likable guy, very, very good guy, extremely charismatic. Cannot wrestle all that good yet, but down the line, he could be the next Commander Aziz. He could be the next Omos. You know, they got something there. And Bronson Reed, his NXT North American Championship run was not that long, but if he gets graduated to the main roster, you know, look, Montez Ford is out, which he had some surgery done. Not going to be out that long, but, you know, it could very well be. I wouldn't be surprised if Bronson Reed first goes after Otis. Would not be surprised if we saw something with Bronson Reed and Otis. Just thinking of, you know, spur of the moment, brainstorming. But I think it's almost a lock that Bronson Reed is going to the main roster. I hope it's SmackDown instead of Raw. As far as Karrion Kross goes, I'm a little surprised they did not announce Karrion Kross versus Johnny Gargano for next week's Great American Bash. But again, it's only a 2-hour show, and they already have 4 matches announced. And NXT normally only has about 5 matches on the card. If you're going to make Karrion Kross and Johnny Gargano one of those 5, and you don't announce it a week early, that's pretty fucked up. But remember, in August, you have NXT TakeOver. So it could very well end up happening that Gargano versus Cross is saved for TakeOver. They are really teasing Cross versus Joe a lot. And yesterday you got to see exactly what I've been talking about with Karrion Kross for a long time now. You know, take one direction and just let the guy run with it. Wise ass remarks yesterday. You see how they had Scarlett dressed a little bit differently, a little more revealing. Karrion Kross, you know, great security you got there, Joe. Like just really being the wise ass that you just want to punch in the face. They finally went that way. Gargano, now it's kind of, I don't want to say a slow burn to a baby face, but that's obviously where they're going. So those were your matches yesterday. The only other match was to determine the number one contenders for the NXT Women's Championship tag titles. Io Shirai, Zoey Stark beat Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. That storyline of a split, hopefully that intensifies soon. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon as well lost. So we're going to have Io Shirai and Zoey Stark next week taking on Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Now, Friday, I'll give you my predictions for Great American Bash. Might even just do it Monday because I want to see if they add another match or two. Right now it's 4 matches, and they're not bad matches, but I don't know. This doesn't feel like Great American Bash. Does not feel. Maybe they should have done 2 weeks. Part 1 next week, part 2 the week after. By the way, programming note. Should have mentioned this right at the beginning of the show. I'm going on vacation next Thursday for 5 days. I am leaving next Thursday morning between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, which means I got to get a little bit of sleep because I got a lot of driving to do. So next week, for the first time ever on a Wednesday night, I will be doing a live watch along of AEW. So next week, I will be here at 8 o'clock Eastern instead of 10:05. It'll be pretty cool because now we got the better, more stacked Dynamite cards. And I'll be honest with you, I know watch-alongs is not everybody's, cup of coffee, and I still am not comfortable doing it, even though this past Saturday was awesome. Out of all the watch, everybody loves Saturday. So obviously we're building on, and we're on to something. I will tell you, going forward, watch-alongs will be very, very few and far between. It will not be a regular thing. But next Wednesday, I'm doing a watch-along so I could go off the air by 10 o'clock, 10:30 the latest, and I hopefully could be passed out and asleep by 11, which, putting aside a couple of trips to the bathroom overnight, I'll get a decent night's sleep. So next Wednesday, join me 8 o'clock p.m. instead of 10:05. So now let's focus a little bit on AEW Dynamite tonight. First week back on Wednesday. I know I am far from the people that said, we told you so. A lot of you out there felt it too, expected it too. Once AEW went back to Wednesdays, it would feel business as usual, but with an asterisk next to it. You now have live fans again. You're now touring again. So not only did you get through a bunch of Fridays and a Saturday with some kind of blah ratings. Now, Saturday's rating, give them props, because the overnight rating, which I gave you on Monday, it was 441,000, I believe. The overnight rating was low. But because it was a weekend and because there was a lot of numbers that were not in yet, the overall rating ended up being 649,000 for Saturday. And Jungle Boy versus Kenny Omega was a ratings success for their, block of shows outside of Wednesday. And, obviously they had an awesome match. We talked about it live. But a lot of us out there knew soon as they went back to Wednesdays, you were going to feel that the shows were just smoother, better matches, storyline, skits, segments, plus the addition of fans. Now you're touring. Now you're going to have 10,000 fans in some cases. Now you got big events that they're hyping up. So coming back to Wednesday, you're coming back, but you're coming back with a big, swift kick in the ass. And that is a good thing. And, yeah, Jungle Boy, man, not a bad week. Had that awesome match with Kenny Omega. Tonight, had his 50th win in AEW, the most wins by anybody in AEW. And I honestly did not know that going into tonight. A couple of weeks ago, I wanted to go check out some win-loss records overall and see, like who's got the most wins, who's got the most losses, and then I figured, Peter Avalon is probably up there with the most losses, but, I really never looked into the wins. So props to Jungle Boy, 50 wins in AEW. And it appears that he and Anna Jay are now a couple. Good for them. I got a kick out of Jake Atlas's tweet. Any of you in the chat room saw what Jake Atlas said to Jungle Boy? Let's see, a lot of people think if you show up at a gay pride parade or you show up at an event to support homosexuals, bisexuals, gay, lesbian, LGBTQ, that you're immediately assumed as also being gay. And Jake Atlas, for those that don't know, Jake Atlas and Jungle Boy are like this. Very, very close friends. And Jungle Boy went to some event with Jake Atlas, and it had something to do with LGBTQ. And for quite some time, a lot of people assumed that Jungle Boy was gay. Now, honestly, I know none of you ever brought it up. I never brought it up because for those that are new over here, most of our stance over here is whatever floats your boat is cool with us. We don't care if you like your M&M's plain or with peanut. If you like someone of the same sex, opposite sex, both, whatever makes you happy. As long as the person or your significant other on the opposite side doesn't have paws, four legs, if you know what I mean. We don't condone that. But whatever makes you happy, whoever you love, it's none of my business. It's none of anybody's business. Whatever makes you happy, we're cool with that. I'm cool with that. And, but yeah, so Jake Atlas, when Jungle Boy posted the picture over the weekend of him kissing Anna Jay, Jake Atlas with the tweet, he's like, remember when they thought you were gay? And I thought that was, it put a smile on my face because I remember some of the shit that was being thrown towards Jungle Boy's way. And that stuck with him for a while. Yes, Austin, real talk. We have real talk on here. I don't mind throwing it in there. And look, I checked the vibe in the chat. By the way, much love to everybody who's tuning in tonight. Props to all of you. If you're feeling it and you want to give some props back, I know I'm sounding like I'm begging. Take a moment and hit that like button. I'd love to try to get this to 100 before we go off the air, even though I know a majority of you tune in, not live. There's so many podcasts out there right now live. So I totally understand why a lot of you will pick and choose what you want, who you want to see first. It's all good. No issues here. I'm just checking out a little bit of the chat room. So yeah, some people did not know about that with Jungle Boy, Jake Atlas. Some people did. But, props to Jungle Boy. Pretty damn good week. But you see, he took on Jack Evans today. With all due respect, I'm not feeling Jack Evans being part of Matt Hardy's group. Once you plant the seed that Jungle Boy, if he wins tonight, he's going to be at 50 wins, you already updated the result online. you knew Jungle Boy was getting the win. And he defeats Jack Evans. Pretty fun match. I think, like I said, it was a little bit, expected. Just want to pull up some of my results so I could talk about. By the way, before the match even happened, I know I'm going a little out of place. I'm doing that for a reason. I'll get to the opening match in a second. They're really trying to do a storyline with Christian Cage as a mentor to Jungle Boy. I expect some tag team matches coming up. I'm really curious to see what this does for Luchasaurus. Yeah, the way AEW is, we'll probably see 6-man tags. We might see eight-man tags if somebody else gets involved. But they're associating Christian with Jungle Boy. Now, although I like it, the outwork everyone, it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. And I expect sooner or later, Christian's got to cut somewhat of a heel promo that this is not why I came to AEW. Not saying shooting. I'm just saying, there's got to be a swerve somewhere. And you know what? You know what will end up happening? We'll probably see Christian versus Jungle Boy. And this is Christian help elevate Jungle Boy a little bit too. But I did get a kick out of Luchasaurus telling Christian that since you watched Jungle Boy's back, now I watch your back. So now Christian has a dinosaur watching his back. The match again, Jungle Boy versus Jack Evans. It was an okay match. I think everyone expected who was going to come out on top. Benjamin, Christian is not doing all that much in AEW, but he was on hiatus for several years. We thought that he would never be able to return back to wrestling. And he doesn't need the physical and mental break that Miro needed in 2020. Now it's obvious. Of what you and I talked about last year. When it got towards the latter part of last year, and they were doing Miedo mode, the video games and all this stuff, we talked about it. It felt like after all of the years, the grind with WWE and how it ended up, it felt like, okay, I need 2020, especially during COVID. I want to use 2020 to, lick my wounds, get my body physically 100%, mentally 100%. They kept him enough on TV. And then when it was ready to go balls out, because you may remember I said I thought 2021 was going to be a big year for Miro, and they kicked off 2021 with a bang with this guy. He is awesome as the TNT champion. His match with Brian Pillman Jr. today was pretty good. I mean, it was a little more one-sided in the end than I thought it would be, but Brian Pillman Jr. put on a good fight. But you could see how much of a distance Miro is to everyone else in the in that division right now for the TNT Championship. Come on, anybody that complains about Miro right now, his promos, God's favorite champion, throwing little comments towards his wife, everything with Miro right now, honestly, I know a lot of people don't like the TNT Championship all that much or don't view it as being a very important title. But if there was ever a perfect, and I don't even think what Miro is doing is chicken shit, but this is a perfect example of someone taking whatever opportunity that is given to him and knocking it out of the park. Whether you like the Alexa Bliss storyline or not, there's no denying that she's knocking that character out of the park. She is doing a tremendous job in her role. You see that with others. Miro right now is doing a phenomenal job with that championship. Only question is who dethrones him for the title. That brings me to Kenny Omega. We talked about it last week. Some of you called in about who's next for Kenny Omega. And there was only one name that kept being brought up, and that was Hangman Page. It feels like they are preparing us for Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega at All Out. I think in Chicago it's going to be. What's interesting is if you look at the entire AEW roster, live chat, get your typing fingers ready because I'm very curious to see what your responses are. You look at the entire AEW roster right now. Yes, there are a lot of wrestlers that could be heavyweight champion. You can think of Moxley, you can think of many people. But I want you to focus on storyline right now. Tell me right now, one person that you think AEW, other than Hangman Page, AEW could start building a tremendous storyline with Kenny Omega that has not been done already. Because they've already done that with Moxley, obviously. They went into a different direction, obviously. You know, now him being a dad and everything. But when you actually take a step back, you know, Orange Cassidy, they kind of step back a little bit. Pac, get the milk carton ready, everyone. Pac, why would you put MJF versus Omega right now? Wouldn't make sense. You really would pay to see Frankie Kazarian versus Kenny Omega for heavyweight title? I'm not saying your choices are bad. I'm not saying they're bad. My point is, you know, it doesn't feel like any storyline could like put Kazarian versus Omega for the next pay-per-view. Doesn't feel why you would put MJF against Omega the next pay-per-view. Sudden Lance Archer, how do you go from what happened a couple of weeks ago with Miro? They've done nothing with him. These are not bad choices. I would love to see Lance Archer against Kenny Omega. My point is, isn't it a little odd that when you push this constant Good Brothers interference, Young Brothers interference, Don Callis, Brandon Cutlet, Michael Nakazawa, and now you realize with all this clusterfuck shit, there's like no great storyline, great feud, one-on-one that you could just throw in there for Kenny Omega. One of my favorite moments during, I don't even want to say Attitude Era, during the Invasion storyline. I know a lot of you will know exactly where I'm going with this. One of my favorite moments of the Invasion storyline was when Steve Austin turned heel. And there was a segment where he was in a locker room with a whole bunch of the people in the Invasion, his faction, whatever you want to call it. And it was something like the first person that opens the door, you know, and Rob Van Dam opened the door. And you have no idea, I know this is outdated, but you have no idea when RVD opened that door, everybody went batshit. I mean, the crowd popped. I know I was doing my hotlines at the time because, you know, we knew RVD was special. I mean, being an ECW fan, we knew how special he was, and he was going to be the diamond in the rough, you know, coming out of all of that. But when they were doing that with Steve Austin and they did something like first person opens the door, yo, what's up? You know, it was just like, all right, yeah, it just fit perfect. And that was to get Rob Van Dam over even further. It almost feels like AEW needs to do something like that also. The problem is they don't have anybody with the, you know, the personality like RVD, so you couldn't do the very same thing. But you could see something where the Good Brothers, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Don Callis, Nakazawa, you know, Cutlet are all in the back or something like that, and they do something where the first person opens that door, I'm going to challenge him. And then somebody opens the door that you don't expect. It's somebody that is tremendously over. And you can see that. Cody, you know what, Mike? I'll say this here. I said it on Saturday, and it's definitely worth saying here. Everyone mark my words. Cody Rhodes will definitely 1,000% fight for the AEW heavyweight title. And I have thought about this long and hard over the last year and a half, and now I'm convinced about something. The storyline of Cody losing the match and never being able to fight for the AEW championship again, that was not to pop a rating. That was not to pop a pay-per-view buy rate. That was not to pop anything like that. Because there's an old saying, what have you done for me lately? You know, ratings and pay-per-view buy rates are only as good as what you do the next week or the next month. The reason why they did that with Cody Rhodes so early on, because look, I'll be the first to admit it. When that happened, yeah, you know what? King of Waco brought up a great one. Kenny Omega, the first person that opens that door, and it's Tommy End, Aleister Black. I like that. I like that. There's so many ways you could tweak it to make it fit great. I like that. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying with Cody. I admit, at that time, I was on these shows. What are you, stupid? AEW, how could you take one of your main eventers and take him out of the title picture? Why would you do that? At the time, you're trying to build stars of tomorrow. You know, you need Cody to be... Now it makes sense. By doing that so early on in AEW's history, you eliminate that conversation that could go on every single week. Because if that stipulation never happened, think of the hundreds and thousands of times you would have read online or heard people say, why aren't they giving Cody a title shot? Cody, you should get a title shot. Why isn't Cody getting a title shot? Cody should get a title shot. It would be never ending, especially on how over Cody is with fans. So from day one-ish, if they never did that storyline, no matter who was the champion, oh, AEW, Cody versus Moxley, make it happen. Cody versus Omega, make it happen. Cody versus Jericho, make it happen. Cody. I have a fucking headache by now. Cody is back in the 50s when people were worried about nuclear war. They all had these basements where they had like tons of food and water that, God forbid, of a massive war disaster, you know, you could go in their basement, you know, no internet at the time for the basement, but you go in the basement, you hunker down, and you got food and water to last you for 2 weeks or a month or whatever. You have a survival kit. Do not break glass. You know, break glass when needed. You know, emergency. It's emergencies. Cody is that emergency kit. AEW down the line has a few people leave, has one or two big injuries. Maybe somebody fucks up. Maybe somebody, you know, is not getting the momentum they should. And they really, really, really need Cody at that time. Do not break glass unless emergency. That's what Cody is. When they get to a point where you feel, even if AEW is in a little bit of trouble, okay, we got to break that glass. That's when somebody will tease Cody, whoever the champion, whether it's Omega or someone else, tease. Then what'll happen? It'll leak onto social media. AEW fans, do you want to see Cody wrestle for the title? Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And then you do a stipulation or something, and then Cody ends up winning that stipulation, and then the fans feel like, we're the ones that got convinced AEW to change their mind. We're the ones. Let's all melt together. And it's the plan all along. That is the plan. And I think it's a brilliant plan. It's a brilliant plan. They were able to get this far without Cody being the focal point, the champion. Yes, who dat? The Ogogo stuff was Look what they've done with Ogogo since. Ogogo has been a no-go since then. That's the deal with Cody right now in AEW. No one is going to convince me otherwise. Cody is that emergency survival kit. You know, you're hiking in the mountains, and it gets down to 50 degrees at night. You have that little like emergency blanket and a few other things, you know, the one light stick, you know, whatever it's called. And God forbid something happens and you have an emergency, that's when you break it. Cody is the emergency kit for AEW. One day, Cody, the storyline will begin where they tease Cody back in the main event picture. Somebody could keep baiting him and baiting him and baiting him and teasing him and teasing him and teasing him. Then you'll get more noise online. We need Cody to fight for the title. Please, AEW, change your mind. AEW. And then Cody will tease you. Cody will tease you. He will be the tease. Fans, I keep my word. Fans, I said I wasn't going to do, I got to keep my word. Please, Cody, change your mind. Fans, you know, my word is my bond. Please, Cody, please change your mind. Please, we want. You really don't want to see me? Ah! That's what's going to happen with Cody. Remember this conversation. Remember this conversation. I am not drunk, James. A little bit nasal because I was sick the last couple of days. I'm trying to get better as quickly as possible so I can enjoy my vacation. So that's where they go with Cody. So Hangman Page doesn't come out with the Dark Order. He was busy drinking. But Kenny Omega comes out there. He's got a bunch of belts. He's got nothing to do in AEW. The Dark Order comes out. And, you know, look, I have nothing against the members of the Dark Order, but there was nobody in the Dark Order there today that I wanted to see take on Kenny Omega at a pay-per-view for the heavyweight title. But obviously they're teasing Hangman Page. Everybody in the crowd knows Hangman Page is where they're going. And Kenny Omega is like, if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, then why doesn't he come out here and say something? So they never mention his name by design. But later on, Dark Order was interviewed in the back, and Hangman Page shows up a little pissed off, like, you know, you make me look stupid. I didn't come out there, this and that. And every member of the Dark Order is telling him, it's your time. It's your time. You should be champion. So this is the start of the slow burn, Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. And honestly, guys, gals, I think Hangman Page, as we talked about on Saturday with some of your calls, Hangman Page should be the one to dethrone Kenny Omega for that championship, especially when you have live fans back in attendance. That guy connects with the fans. You know, it almost feels like it has to happen. I just hope they do a stipulation where everybody is banned from ringside. Dark Order banned from ringside. Gallows and Anderson banned from ringside. The Young Bucks banned from ringside. Hell, Don Callis banned from ringside. Just let it be those two guys. I think it would be phenomenal. I think it'll be phenomenal. So we'll see what happens, but you can pretty much guarantee that that's the match that's going to go down. Now, I saved the opening match to now only because if you've been tuning in for the last couple of weeks, you know how I feel about this. It's almost like a running joke now. I love Eddie Kingston. I've been spoiled watching him fight for almost 20 years. 16 years to be exact, as far as me watching him. But although these matches are great, and I will admit, out of all the tag matches with Eddie and a Lucha Bro versus the Young Bucks, I probably enjoyed tonight's the most. What a fun opener. I mean, Friday nights, they had their moments. Saturday night, they had their moments. Few and far between. But tonight, after that first match, I'm like, all right, it feels good to be back on Wednesday night. It was such a phenomenal match. But, you know, it gets to a point where it's the same shit over and over. And yes, some of your favorites are in it. It's like watching your friend go out there for a match. Now, nobody in the match is friends of mine, but you have and you see your friend go out for a match, and it's the same variation week after week after week after week after week. Gets to a point where you're like, all right, this is getting a little bit much. And we joked for the last couple of weeks. It's Eddie Kingston and Ray Phoenix versus the Young Bucks. It's Eddie Kingston and Penta versus the Young Bucks. It's Penta and Ray Phoenix against the Young Bucks. It's Penta, Eddie Kingston, and Ray Phoenix versus the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutlet. Like they do all these. Do you realize how many variations they've done with this for months? And now they get the win tonight. They get a tag team title shot. So the Young Bucks, very rare. They got pinned tonight. Frankie Kazarian comes out. The Good Brothers try to distract the referee, but Kazarian wails on everybody. And the match was fun, and it was interesting. It was interesting because a few of you, when I was in Discord earlier, by the way, I think I posted a Discord link earlier. A couple of days ago, I launched the Discord chat that is open just for my YouTube family. So obviously my YouTube channel members get VIP status, obviously. But I when I put the invite out, I'm only limiting it to like 5 or 10 at a time. So this way we could build the page organically and have fun. So if you want to sign up, and if you can't find an invite for any reason, email me. DonTony@DonTony.com or DM me on Twitter, and I will send you an invite personally. But I was chatting with a few people earlier today, and I said, number one, it's got to be at least a year since the Young Bucks have lost a match. And number two, I don't remember somebody that was like heavyweight, a major champion being pinned in a non-title match. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but I honestly, since the Young Bucks have not been pinned in a year, at least, or right around that, and Kenny Omega sure hasn't been pinned. I mean, the TNT champion, it's a little bit different, but I don't remember anybody being pinned on a one-on-one that was a non-title match. So tonight felt a little different. But I will say this, I wouldn't make a big deal about it because with WWE, that happens every month. Happens every month. It's almost a formula with WWE. Tag team champion, faces, non-tag team champion, contenders, wannabe contenders, and somehow the contenders beat the tag team champions in a non-title match, which then leads to a tag team title match on a pay-per-view. They've done that hundreds of times. It happens almost every month. A champion, blah, 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 has just pinned the champion. Drew McIntyre has just pinned Bobby Lashley. They do it all the fucking time. I know AEW doesn't do that, but once in a while, it's not a bad thing. You do want to feel that at any time someone could lose. That makes wrestling the most fun. Unless someone is a champion that you absolutely obsess over, and under no circumstances do you want them to lose a match. I refuse to have blah, 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 lose. So Marvin says that I'm right. Well, I don't want to say that I'm right because, like I said, a few of you pointed it out to me. But when I thought about it, I said, yeah, I can't really remember any of these guys losing. So somebody said earlier that Ray Phoenix is hurt. What else is new? I hope he's not hurt. But this is why you can't run roughshod simply because you can. Hey, everybody, I could dive off my roof. Look, I'm fine. Just because you could do crazy ass shit doesn't mean that you should. And Ray Phoenix, I'll never forget that dive he did between the guardrail and the ring. Remember that battle royal or whatever? And everybody was seriously concerned about him. The funny thing is, if that was my father and that was me and I got injured, I could hear it already. My father would walk up to me and be like, good. I'm glad it happened to you. When I had my car accident in 96, you saw the injuries at the beginning of the show with that promo thing I did. When I had my car accident in 96, my father thought that I was like driving like racing or driving like stupidly. I mean, once he saw the police report and the accident report and a lot of the details, he realized that I got cut off in the rain and my car went through a telephone pole. So almost saw it in half. I had to be cut out of the car. Jaws of life. So, but the first day I was in the hospital, the second day, because first day I was unconscious. The second day I was in the hospital and he thought that I was just driving stupidly. When I saw my mom in the hospital, she brought me a little handheld video game. She bought me McDonald's. She sat with me for a couple of hours and she was devastated. Swear on stack of Bible. When my father walked in, he looked at me, he says, good. Drive like that. Keep driving like that. Good. He apologized days later. But, sometimes, with Ray Phoenix and some others, you got to dial that shit back. I love Ray Phoenix, and he is one of the most talented wrestlers that I have seen in the last 20 years that does insane shit. I'm sure if I watched some wrestling from Mexico and Japan, I probably would see even more insane shit. But Ray Phoenix is special. He is a special talent. But we want to see Ray Phoenix wrestle for the next 10 years. And, it gets to a point where look at Darby Allin. Remember what I called him a year ago? Remember? Darby Dumbass? Now, the funny thing is, Darby Allin is going to be in Jackass 4, I think. I kid you not. He's going to be in Jackass 4. So when you saw that little stuff with Steve-O, that was done because he's going to be in Jackass. But for the most part, let's be honest. Darby, they have trimmed back significantly on a lot of the skits, a lot of the stunts that could seriously injure the guy. Darby Allin is an adrenaline junkie. I think we all agree on that. He is an adrenaline junkie. But AEW still needs to say, yo, man, we're signing your check. You want adrenaline? Play a fucking video game. Don't be jumping off bridges. Even though AEW was moronic to fucking film it. You stupid? Jumping off a bridge? You stupid? No, they film it and put it on TV. So AEW is also guilty a little bit, but they have dialed that back. And they realize they don't need to do all that crazy shit. He still does a lot of physical spots, him going down that stairs. You do that, see how you feel. So I give him credit, but I don't call him Darby Dumbass anymore. You know that. I haven't said that in about 10 months. Guy has really changed. By the way, tonight, Darby Allin, Sting, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky. If you notice, almost our entire conversation today, I'm not really looking at notes because we're just having a nice combo about what we saw today. I don't do play-by-play. Springboard plancha. We get into the overall, and if you didn't tune in and you want to maybe tune in after what we talked about, then you do. So, as I said earlier, the coffin match has been changed to, I think, Fyter Fest, I think it's believed to was changed to. Some people out there think it was changed because of the tragedy in Florida with that condominium complex going down. And like I said, I don't know what the answer is with that. My honest opinion, that if that was the case, and I'm sorry for repeating myself from earlier, you don't have Sting come out with a coffin on wheels. Look, everybody, it's a coffin on wheels. You don't have Darby Allin jump out of the coffin. You don't have Ethan Page say 10 times, every time you do the coffin drop, you're going to think of me. Every time you think of doing the coffin drop, you're going to think of me. Every time you think of thinking of doing the coffin drop, you're going to think of me. Every time you shit and think of the coffin drop, you don't keep saying coffin, 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 coffin. They said it. Take a shot every time the word coffin was said today. And then try to wrestle. You think you're impersonating Dana Brooke. You don't say coffin 30 times if you're trying not to make people think of a tragedy with coffins. So I don't think one has to do with the other. Next week, they got a lot on their plate. As I scroll through this, next week we have Santana and Ortiz teaming up with Jake Hager versus Wardlow and FTR. Cool thing about it is Conan will be in the corner of Santana, Ortiz, and Hager, which I like because now we got a managerial person. Jericho is still an active wrestler. Conan could interact with Tully a little bit, which is fun. So you have next week Santana, Ortiz, and Hager with Conan in their corner versus Wardlow and FTR with Tully in their corner. You have Andrade making his AEW debut, taking on Matt Sydal. I don't mind the debut next week, and I don't mind the challenge, but I'm just speaking from me and my opinion. As I said last week, Andrade comes out there, fine suit, Vickie Guerrero, talking about how suave he is, and some piece of shit, Matt Sydal, interrupts me. I don't walk to the back. I don't wait a week to make an announcement that, oh, next week, I'm going to kick your ass. You show me up on live TV in my first appearance, I attacked the shit out of you. You don't fucking get away with that. You don't make it a week later. Ooh, and what's with the dubbing? We understand what Andrade is saying. Am I wrong, everyone? Seriously. I mean, doesn't that go against the whole Andrade? Can you imagine if he's at a bar, at a restaurant, if he's in character and he's with Charlotte and some guy hits on her? Honey, let's go. Let's go to the table. And then they go eat their meal. They leave. They go back to the hotel. And then a week later, Andrade stops in to get a latte, sees the same guy there. I challenge you next week. Motherfucker, you look at me the wrong way. What the fuck you looking at, you mother... Let Matt Sydal... I'm talking about AEW writing. I'm not talking about Andrade. I'm talking about AEW's writing. The minute Matt said, you disrespect Andrade, I would have wailed on the brother. Mike, you know, the one that nobody really cares about, that AEW thinks that we care about for some reason. Mike Sydal. Andrade should have beat the living shit out of him last week. No. I don't want to get my suit dirty. Stupid AEW. Just opinion, but stupid. You do not fuck with Andrade. Otherwise, you fuck with Andrade, I kick your ass in 3 weeks. Shit. Fuck with me, man. Seriously, unless it's worth waiting. Some people that fuck with people, sometimes it's worth waiting, and then you get them when they least expect it. And then they're like, it's like a bad cartoon. They're like, the fuck you doing, Andrade? No, you disrespect Andrade. I talk in the third person. Everything is in threes. So the third week after you insult me, I go kick your ass. What's going to happen? He's going to beat up Mike 3 weeks after that? Stupid. Just stupid. We have the Bunny and the Blade versus Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy next week. Fine. I have no problem with that. That'll be a fun match. I will tell you this, something that nobody thought about tonight. Thank God the Bunny's okay. Think back to the watch along on Saturday. Remember our whole analysis of Chris Statlander, the Mortal Kombat thing? And sure enough, the energy level went down to 3%, and that move looks scary. I mean, thank God the bunny is okay. So they're putting her right back out there with the person that almost injured her. But something tells me we'll probably see the bunny get a little bit of one-ups. So, franchise, I'll do the accent with anything because it's not meant to be racist. You know, it's not mocking. So if anybody is that triggered, trust me, there's a lot of other podcasts that you could go out and tune into and be greeted with bonbons and lollipops and chocolate ice cream. I mean, let me put it this way. If you're going to get upset about doing an accent, why aren't you upset that AEW is dubbing whatever he's saying when we understand what he says? Andrade speaks decent English. I mean, why do we need the wording under there? Wouldn't that be kind of an insult? We know what he's saying. Why would you do that? To try to make it seem we don't understand him? Isn't that kind of fucked up? But you have 3 weeks to respond. MJF, Jericho, face to face. Again. After MJF pushing Jericho off of Blood and Guts, the cage, I think one more match is necessary. It's fine. But I know a lot of you out there suddenly feel like, are we going in circles? Blood and Guts, Stadium Stampede. They're still all brawling. Remember what we said a couple of months ago? These guys will be fucking with each other for 6, 7, 8 months. This is a third of the card guaranteed every week. Next week, Sammy versus Spears. The week later, Sammy and Santana Ortiz versus FTR and Wardlow. Or FTR and MJF. Or MJF, Wardlow, and I don't know, an F. Or a T. Or an R. That's the variation we're going to get. After what we got with the main event tonight, and I know we opened up with it, and we're going to start wrapping this up. We're at the 2-hour mark. But what we got tonight, as I said in the beginning, was a tease of what we could have down the line. Again, under no circumstances am I saying that MJF or Guevara would ever be on the level of The Rock or Triple H or, Steve Austin. But for 2021 and the bright future stars, and I know what some people are saying right now, DT, they're not the stars of tomorrow. They're the stars of today. I get it. But there is still so much development. Somebody brought this up. If you go and look at the photo, if you do a photo search of Sammy Guevara on Twitter, you will see a picture of him from a little more than a year ago to now. And a little more than a year ago, he was wearing that fucking Mantar, whatever that thing was. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even remember what the hell it was. It looked like this giant Mantar just with the head cut out. He had like this big, look at him now. I mean, the attitude is different. The look is a little bit different. He's amped it up, like Austin is saying in the chat. The Panda, yeah. Fuck the Panda. Sammy the Panda Guevara. That's not even like a bad, like, mafia name from my neck of the woods. Hey, Anthony, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm not doing nothing. Why? Do me a favor. This fucking guy, he fucking owes me money. I'm going to give you this guy's number. You got to call him up. His name is Sammy the Panda Guevara. Fucking turn him into fucking World Wildlife Fund. Chair bash that fucking panda's ass. Sammy the Panda? That's not even like good. Look how much he has changed in a year. MJF, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much he has tweaked. Look at his visuals today. When Sammy Guevara climbed the top rope to do his fucking 460, 860, that crazy ass splash that he does. Look at MJF's face. I mean, he saw a ghost. The whites of his eyes. Scared shit. He knew it was coming. The guy has all the mannerisms. I mean, the psychology is there. And you compare that from a year ago, you will see such a stark difference. I'm telling you, these two guys had such a phenomenal match today. And the one thing I will tell you about this match, there were a lot of points in this match where it felt more like spot fests. It felt more like spot fests. I mean, I loved when MJF was outside the ring and Guevara reminded me when Rob Van Dam did the somersault outside the ring onto Bam Bam Bigelow in ECW. That shit was crazy. I mean, they tore it up. And the simple roll-up, the simple fruit roll-up that Guevara did, the pin attempt towards the end of the match, and MJF's foot just happened to get caught inside the rope a little bit. It just fit perfectly. I mean, it just, because he arched him a little too much, his foot got caught in the rope. Totally different vibe of when you pin someone a little too close to the ropes and their foot goes on the rope. Wardlow, you know, with the Jericho stuff was kind of I think it was unnecessary. I mean, they would do, the reason why they did that with Wardlow and Jericho was to get the referee to not look at Guevara and MJF. And then so Sean Spears could chair bash Guevara. And by the way, that chair shot looked lame. I know Guevara got his hands up. Jim Ross even mentioned that, but it didn't look all that great. But MJF selling the knee, he sold it so well. I don't know if it's a legit injury or not. I mean, there was a couple of points where he was putting weight on it, so I was like, okay, it's not an injury. Then you have the commentators, Tony Schiavone flashing me back to 2000. Fans, this is not in the script. This is not in the script. Now, obviously, they did it much better this time. They basically said that MJF is a chicken shit and MJF will fake injuries. Fans, this does not look like he's faking an injury. Fans, this is real. This is not. So, kind of flashed me back to 2000, but they put all the onus on MJF. And MJF did such a great job with it, even after he won. And just now, for all we know, he might have a little bit of injury. I don't think he does. But those two guys tore it up today. And let me tell you my lasting memory for now about that match. Go back and watch that match again. And about halfway through the match, just look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. I'll admit, kicking out of a tombstone off the middle rope, this is not great suspension of disbelief. Anybody that gets tombstoned off a middle rope, you know, should be done. Okay, didn't happen. There was a couple of spots that, you know, kicking out of a two, you know, was maybe a little bit of hard, you know, to buy into. But halfway through that match, look at the fans. 95% of every fan was standing on their feet watching this. There was no Jericho and Wardlow brawling yet. There was no Guevara with the chair. Spears with the chair. There was no interference. It was just these two guys doing it in the ring. And I looked, and I even think AEW took notice because I think one of the commentators said it later on that the fans are on their feet. And I thought that was so cool. Now, yes, I've seen many matches where fans are standing on their feet all throughout the night. But there were no titles on the line with this. This was just future star versus future star. I know they are stars now, and I know they are big stars now, but the level that they've just touched the surface. I mean, you go back into around 1996, 1997, you started to see how much of a star some of these wrestlers were. I mean, some were already there, but these guys could be 100 times bigger in the future. As far as pay-per-view buys, being the focal point of a company, carrying a title. I mean, you know, a lot of people say now, oh, Jungle Boy, you will be world heavyweight champion in the future. Possible? Possible. I think more people say that because they could care less if he weighs less than this. You know, I think people just like the guy so much and you want to root for him so much. But you got to look at it in a promoter's eyes. AEW probably would put the heavyweight title on him. I don't think WWE would. I'm not sure if some of the other promotions would. It's possible. You know, but just because you put a belt on someone doesn't mean it's the right decision. I honestly still feel to this day, Rich Swann did a hell of a job as Impact Wrestling heavyweight champion. I still don't think he should have been the champion, though. Because to me, from my perspective, it didn't generate ratings. It didn't generate buy rates. It didn't generate any additional interest. It felt like the existing fans, because they're existing fans, they acknowledge how much hard work he put in for that company after leaving WWE. You deserve it. You deserve. Now, obviously, they didn't do it live in person. There's no fans there, but they did it online. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Well, guess what? Everybody that was not an Impact Wrestling fan didn't suddenly become an Impact Wrestling fan because he became champion. You're right. You do deserve it. I'm a fan. So, you know, you got to build. You got to build. So these guys, I'm telling you, they've just touched the surface. And I truthfully believe AEW's got to resist that rematch for a couple of years. I don't know how long they'll be locked into AEW. I mean, you know, make him an offer he can't refuse. One of these guys could leave, you know, in the next couple of years. There's no guarantee that these two guys are going to be in the same promotion, you know, 5 years from now. But if they do stick around AEW, I say 2-3 years. I think this match should not happen again one-on-one for a couple of years. And I honestly think there should be a championship on the line. But MJF does get the win with a lot of help. And Guevara loses 0 by losing this match. This is to generate further heat. MJF now is going to have the face-to-face with Jericho next week. They're going to apparently have another match with a stipulation on the line. Jericho plugged his book, 30 years of Jericho, with basically every match that he has ever had. Now, I'll be honest with you, I love the idea of that book. But now you're going to have another match. So the book is not going to be complete. So, you know, it's the first 30 years. It's not his entire career. But you know, down the line, another book will come out with all the additional matches. But I tell you, I'm thinking about getting that book. I love that the random, I mean, it was done by design, but the random match that they chose tonight was when Jericho took on Taz, Big Ass Extreme Bash. I do remember that match vividly. I remember Bill Alfonso's whistle giving me a headache. I was at that show. You could actually see me on that card. You actually see me. Right-hand side, about 7 rows in. By the way, Friday night, I'll be in Thunderdome again. I will be in full Deli Man gear, complete with the hat and the salami. And it's going to be the last appearance from yours truly in Thunderdome. Last week, I was all over TV, which was pretty funny. I don't want to repeat everything I said the other day. I'm sure most of you already know it, but this Friday, I already got invited. It's pretty cool to get an email like, hey, you want to be in Thunderdome again? You know, we're not asking for it. But next week, that's it for Thunderdome. They're going to tape the Raw for the following week, but that's it. After next week, Thunderdome is dismantled and no more LED screens. So I'm going to act like a overgrown kid Friday. You'll see Deli Man going like this, having fun. You know, you'll see it. You'll see it. I'm going to have extra lights on. So I'm glowing like a fucking blue light bulb, red, white, green, and blue light bulb. Michael, am I going to miss Thunderdome? I don't know. Maybe because I had fun. Like I said, it was cool the last 2 weeks having Ted DiBiase in my ear, you know, telling everybody what to do and everything. It was fun. It was something different. You know, it was a little bit interactive. You know, it's cool to see yourself on the screen, you know, just having fun. I mean, I will miss that interactive part of it, but overall, nothing compares to live fans. You can't compare it. I mean, look, if there's obviously something wrong, like a pandemic, you know, I think this was very innovative. I think they did a decent job with it. Obviously, you could see how they have tweaked some wrestlers because they are concerned of how the fans are going to react. And they realize that they got away with a lot of shit. The Alexa Bliss stuff is prime example number one. You know, when you have a match with her in it, you go to commercial break, she comes back and she's got a whole different wardrobe change. You know, now you realize, okay, all this shit's pre-recorded. And Randy Orton is spitting out black goo. You ain't doing that live unless it's a backstage pre-recorded segment. So they have to tweak some things. But, you know, I think a lot of people forget that the pandemic is not officially over yet. And this COVID is going to be around for years because not everybody's going to be vaccinated. And now you got this Delta variant. If I was a young person, especially, and you hear about all this crazy shit with Delta variants, what's, you know, like, I would just be like, fuck it, man. I'm going to walk into a Rite Aid, get the needle in the arm, and that's it. I'm done. You know, it's just, I don't want to compare it to other illnesses, but, you know, I will tell you, you know, growing up, we'll talk about this tomorrow. I don't want to get too deep into this today, but we'll have a conversation tomorrow about it. But growing up in the 80s, without getting into anything specific, you started to hear some wild shit going around about certain disease. Believe me, I tell you, even though, you know, I'm not gay, I could tell you, going out with my friends and going to bars and clubs, you know, people in the back of their mind like, yo, I mean, I hope she don't have, or, you know what I mean? I'm just like, it puts that thought in your head like, shit, you know, it's scary shit. So it's going to be around for a while, but, you know, Thunderdome was what it was, but anybody that cut and dries just says, it sucked, it was stupid, it sucked. We're in a fucking pandemic. Did they rather have the dead air that we had for the first 3 months because WWE was so bashful or thick-headed that they didn't want to feel, you know, come across they were copying AEW because AEW had fans around it? What'd you want? Nothing? Just dead air? Go back and watch when Drew McIntyre beat Brock for that title and then he took on Big Show. And just listen to even that noise in the background, which there was none. You mean to tell me that was better? It's a pandemic. If that was put out there and it wasn't a pandemic, I probably would rip the shit out of it. But they had to compromise. They had to do something. They came up with an interactive way. For me, I have fun. It's a workout. Believe me when I tell you, it's a workout. You do that for an hour and then somebody's cutting a promo in the ring and they tell you, all right, everybody, thumbs down. And you just keep doing this. The person keeps yapping and they keep panning the crowd. You want to be seen, you keep doing this. And trust me, if you go like this too long, they'll just kick you from the thing or they'll put you in section 508. So anyway, trying to think what other matches tonight. We had, I got to bring up a little bit with the Ethan Page thing, like I said before. Ethan Page, man, that guy, you realize what Impact Wrestling had. The guy, I never saw so many people tonight truly convinced that Ethan Page hates Darby Allin. The guy is so good at what he does. That guy, I think people underestimate how valuable he is. Ethan Page is awesome. I'm enjoying his shit with Scorpio Sky. Now, the women's tag, we talked about it earlier. It looks like Rebel has a significant leg injury. Personally, I didn't like the idea of her teaming up with Vickie. Nyla Rose teaming up with Vickie versus Rebel and Britt Baker. I know it was done to build Nyla Rose versus Britt Baker. Now it's clear Britt Baker is the baby face out of all of this. Nyla Rose is the heel. I mean, I know some people are going to say, well, Vickie obviously was a heel, especially with pairing up with Andrade. I mean, we all knew that. But Vickie Guerrero is not a wrestler. I know it was comedy, but I invite all of you, please, if you recorded Dynamite today, or you have access to see it with commercials, please go back and look at this match. They went to a commercial break with Vickie in the ring, wrestling. Yes, she was laid on her chest, but just watch that during the commercial break. It was horrendous. It's not Vickie's fault. Vickie is not a wrestler. I mean, just trying to milk 2 minutes with Rebel in the ring and Britt Baker, trading kicks on Vickie, it just looked horrible. So what happens? Britt Baker hits the lockjaw on Vickie. Now, you go back and you look at Sheeta after she took the lockjaw. And you go back and you look at others who have taken the lockjaw from Britt Baker. Even when they immediately tap and Britt Baker breaks the hold, they're all selling the pain in the mouth. Vickie Guerrero takes the lockjaw, she taps, Britt Baker breaks the move, and what does Vickie Guerrero do? Instead of selling that she just got that move on it, she's in the ring going, banging the ring like all Friday, screaming like, you suck. And it was horrible. And then to make matters worse, during the match, Rebel tries to break a pin attempt. Looks like blows out her leg. Nyla Rose puts Britt Baker through a table afterwards. It looked rather weak in my opinion. I thought Nyla was going to jump off the apron with Britt. Kind of like what Rhino used to do. If you want to use women as an example, Rhino one time did like a tombstone off the middle rope, the middle apron, the side of the apron, through a table with Sandman's wife, Lori Fullington. One of the sickest bumps I ever seen a woman take. I mean, yes, we saw the Dudleys put people through tables, but I thought Nyla Rose was going to do the same thing to Britt Baker, but she just like powerbombed her through. And it just, I don't know, kind of looked a little bit lame. It looked a little bit lame. So, but yeah, with that said, that was Dynamite tonight. I enjoyed it tremendously. It had a great flow. Next week sounds like a lot of fun. And remember, I will be doing the watch along so I could go to sleep a little bit earlier. Right now it's 12:25 a.m. So next week at this time, I expect to be in La La Land. But yeah, don't forget, tomorrow night, I will be right here at 10:05. We will do a Q&A, live calls, chat all night long. I will think about what I want to do with this content. I already have an idea of what I want to do. And once again, if you didn't tune in earlier, I'm going to give away this signed Luke Harper, Brody Lee card. Like I said, I wish I had Brody Lee signed items, but obviously there's really nothing out there with him signing as Brody Lee, and he's tragically had passed. So this is a card that is only limited to 50. It is very rare. And, you know, somebody actually DM'd me earlier and said, why don't you give it to Brody Lee's son? If they don't have one, I'd be glad to. I'd be honored to. But, you know, I mean, what am I going to do? I mean, how do you even approach it? I'm going to get in touch with the fan. Hey, would you like this? Kind of awkward, you know? I'd rather give it to someone on the show that'll enjoy it. We'll talk about Bill Cosby tomorrow. Because as I wrote on Twitter earlier today, I don't know what kind of country you live in where Bill Cosby has more freedom right now than Britney Spears. And I'm not a fan of either one. You know, it's a little bizarre, some of the things going on. But I'm going to jet out of here. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. We had some fun convo. I want to give a special shout out to everybody who tuned in on the other platforms, Facebook, Twitter, or Periscope. I don't know if I connected Twitch. Like I said before, Twitch, unless I'm failing at a video game or I got nice bazoombas and I'm in a inflatable tub in a bikini drawing your names on little toy ducks, I don't think many people want to check me out on Twitch. So we'll keep it to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. I think those are the three platforms. I might have an announcement next week as far as another platform that wants me to do shows. I'll talk about it tomorrow. It's not wrestling, though. I got sent an email 3 times from someone, and I finally responded. And I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just like a mass email, that the person was specifically, and I emailed the person back and I said, what exactly do you want me to do? And this person came back and was bringing up some of the things I said on the shows. I'm like, holy shit, this person actually tunes in. And they want me to be part of a new app. I'll explain tomorrow. It's not about wrestling, though. And I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm thinking about it. It's not hard work. I would only have to do it once a week. But I'll talk about it tomorrow. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. In fact, the more I think about it, once I mention what they want me to do, I think some people are going to be like, they want me to be part of this app that mentors people, that tries to uplift people, that tries to give people advice and trying to inspire. Mentor. I kid you not. Not Mantar, not Mentos, mentor. It's a legit thing. I mean, I looked into it and I was like, I don't know why they would want me to be part of it. But the funny thing is, I'll probably mention it tomorrow and 95 other podcasters will come forward and say, yeah, I got that email too. They want me to be a mentor. No, I would never do OnlyFans. Never do it. Yeah, I got beat red. That shit hurt. No. There's a red. Let me show you something. Look, watch. Still a little red. But yeah, I had the red lights on tonight. I do blue sometimes, purple, red. So we're going to add some lighting in this room next week. Thank God we didn't have much rain. I couldn't believe it. 2 minutes before I went live, the light flickered. I'm like, oh, fuck. And I hear loud rain outside. And I'm like, man, what a great way to return to Wednesday night with wrestling. And I was thinking about it. You know, we had some pretty damn good wrestling on Monday. You know, not spectacular, but, you know, decent. Then we had great wrestling tonight. We had some decent wrestling Saturday. I thought Saturday's AEW was the best Dynamite that they did on those Fridays and Saturdays for the last month. So we had a decent Saturday Dynamite. We had an okay Raw. You know, Dark yesterday was pretty good. And tonight we had Dynamite. Elevation, excuse me, not Dark. Elevation. So anyway, I know, right? Franchise, mentor. See, Lee already got the email too. He got the email also. They want him to be a mentor. I knew it. I had a feeling. I'm like, damn. Not against you, but I might actually do it. I might try it out. If I could get paid, seriously, if they want to pay me, I probably would do it. I won't whore myself out, but I don't do anything for free anymore. I mean, I do this for all of you because you invest and support me. So to me, what you do for me by supporting me, hitting that like button, subscribing, telling others about the shows, if you financially help us with expenses, improving the equipment, that all is helping me. But as far as, just doing things for others that just take, I'm always here if anybody out there needs some advice or needs an opinion or, you want to know about equipment or needs help setting something up. I don't charge for that. But I'm saying, like, the days of me spending so much time trying to do for others and meanwhile sacrificing myself, I'm too old for that. I can't handle it no more. So people are laughing at the mentor thing. No, the more I'm thinking about it before I go off the air, I don't know if I should do it. Seriously. By the way, happy birthday again, Terry Funk, my favorite wrestler of all time. God bless him, 77 years old. Man, just amazing career. Absolutely love that guy's work, man. Just love it. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I did answer everybody's super chats, which is good. I'm not forgetting about anybody. It would be sacrilegious. What the hell I know why. There we go. We got to give shout outs to La Nostra Familia. Even though for some reason that bottom scroll seems to be going really, really slow. Really slow. Much love. Like I said, I'll upload some more retro stuff over the weekend. It is going to be 4th of July weekend. So I will try to put some stuff up early on Saturday. So look out for that. If anybody wants to become a channel member, like I said, I'm not trying to do it as a money grab. You sign up for as little as like what, $1.99 for a month. You get emojis, you get retro audio, you get, you could be involved with some exclusive Q&As. Obviously our VIPers and Nostra Familia come first, but we got some good stuff going on over here. And of course, the other shows out there that are here on YouTube, support them also. They work their asses off. I mean, they really, do a great job. And I will definitely be hooking up with some of them for AEW in August. And if you're in my neck of the woods or you plan on being in my neck of the woods in August, I hope you can join us too. Once the tickets go on sale, July 16th, and I know exactly what I can get. By the way, I already looked into getting this giant block of tickets. Nobody at AEW has responded. So I don't know if that's deliberate. I don't know if maybe there's just a lot of shit going on. But, if they don't respond, then either I will just get a skybox, hang out with all of you beforehand, and then, we'll probably have some of you in a skybox. Or I'll just find out where most of you are going to be sitting, and I'll just get some tickets in the same section, and we'll just make a lot of noise that night. Make a lot of noise. We'll see how many Don Tony signs get confiscated. So, Benjamin, I truly don't think AEW is ghosting me. I really don't. Look, anything is possible, but I think truly because of the move back to, touring and everything else going on, look at those morons that almost got suckered into dropping like $7,000 for a skybox or something. You think those morons on that show, with all due respect, I don't mean it personal, but this show or whatever that said that somebody almost scammed them for $7,000 for sky, I honestly don't believe it. I don't believe it because I don't know how somebody could be that stupid. Tickets don't go on sale until July 16th. All right. If you want a skybox and someone is offering to sell you one and you're spending that kind of money, the first thing you do is you call the venue up. Make sure it's legit. To show me a one-sided 3-paragraph explanation about how somebody almost took him for a ride, and you don't do any diligence to check out to see if this is legit, you don't even question, like, how's he got tickets if it's not even on sale yet? What do you think? If you didn't get your tickets, they were going to let you go to the skybox anyway and eat fruit? These people should have been scammed. You should have gotten ripped off. Stupid people, man. Very stupid. Yeah, so I'm going to jet out of here. Much love, everyone. One last time, you know what I'm going to do. Smash that like button. Like, share, subscribe. I'd love to see a bunch of you do that before you get out of here. And I hope you could join me tomorrow night. We'll have a whole bunch of fun convo. Hopefully Bill Cosby doesn't absorb too much of it. Yeah, I don't want to start getting into that now. So everyone, have a great night. I see you tomorrow.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.